Hello, lords and ladies. Tonight we're going to talk about the world. The objectives for today are to be able to compare and contrast Christianity with Judaism, a religion that we've already covered. We want to be able to identify individuals and groups that are associated with Christianity, so see where this split comes from between Judaism and Christianity. We're going to discuss the major beliefs of Christianity, and we're going to discuss the role played by missionaries in spreading Christianity. Now, Christians are prevalent in the world today. There are many millions. So, what we're going to look at, Christianity and Judaism initially. Judaism is the starting point for Christianity. The teachings of Jesus of Nazareth were based on the basic beliefs and in terms of the Roman world with Judaism, what we're going to see is that in 63 BC, Rome conquers Judea. And remember, we had talked about the 12 tribes of Israel. Those were the sons of Jacob. And Rome goes through and conquers this whole region so that it's not even a free region anymore. Jews are forced then to pay the tribute to the Romans. That means taxes, as we talked about in class. In exchange, the Romans allow the Jews to practice Judaism however they want. They're not going to persecute or anything like that with the Jews. They allow them to practice their religion as long as they're paying their tribute and as long as they're keeping order and they're part of the Roman Empire. Even with that being said, there are Jews who are not happy about the Romans controlling them. So what you have is a group called the Zealots, and you've heard that term, I'm sure, today. Zealots are people who are overly enthusiastic about something and could be considered to be, kind of crazy about it and over the top. But in this time, the Zealots were the ones who Into this mix comes Jesus of Nazareth. Now, you know that the Old Testament of the Bible is sacred also to the Jewish faith, okay? Then you have what are called he, in doing this and in preaching these beliefs, attracted many, many followers, and his followers were called the disciples. He had 12 disciples, according to the Bible, and then many, many more over the course of time. But the people who followed him are called disciples. So if people say today that they're a disciple of something, it means that they follow something. Jesus performed miracles of healing. You've heard, healing the blind, healing the sick, and he defends the poor and the oppressed, watering into wine and such. So he is a defender of those who are suffering. He urges people throughout the world to seek God's forgiveness. The idea being that you love God above all else. He also believed in what we call today the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done to you, so love others as you love yourself. That's the golden rule. That is a fundamental belief of Christian. Okay, if you know anything about Christianity, you should know the story of Jesus' death and resurrection. Jesus was arrested. The Roman governor was very angry, and he was frustrated with Jesus, saw him as a by. Now, how did this spread? If its main advocate dies and is executed, essentially, how does Christianity spread then? And the answer to that is the disciples. The disciples are the ones who went on and carried on Jesus' teachings, and they taught them. Now, what happens, though, is that on a local level, some people start to get frustrated with the Christians and, in fact, started to fear them and were worried that they were going to overtake, and so they start to persecute them. Persecute means to unfairly target and hurt, occasionally torture, but to set them aside as different and Okay, in terms of the early Christian church, originally it's a supportive community. It wasn't organized like we think of church today, where you would go to a specific building, you would worship on a Sunday at 10 o'clock, and at a specific time and a place. It's just small, supportive communities initially. Once you start to get these ceremonies evolving where they do the Eucharist, which is communion, essentially the body and blood of Christ, and commemorating that. If you're Catholic, you believe the Eucharist is actually, and if you are other faiths that are Christian, Episcopalian. So this is the basic general structure of the early stages of Christianity. Okay, and we will continue to talk about Christianity, continue to talk about Judaism. Right now, from what you're seeing, you should see that the early Christians and Christianity in general has a lot in common with Judaism, but that there are some differences. So Okay, to sum up, today we looked at the fact that Judaism and Christianity have many similarities and differences. Predominantly the fact that Judaism and Christianity both are monotheistic religions, both believe in the Old Testament of the Bible, both do acknowledge that Jesus Christ existed. Jews, however, in terms of differences, do not